In this time in history, the critical mental health services that the school social worker provide are more important than ever. Communities have been struggling with the new normal that revolves around social isolation. We're witnessing an unprecedented rise in COVID cases, increasing anxiety due to ongoing uncertainty, and steady decline in overall mental health. The impact of this pandemic has taken a rapid toll on the school system and created a vacuum of unmet needs in all areas of the life of students as well as their families. Whether it's in person or virtual, families are still relying on the schools to provide more than just education to their kids. Now, the school social workers, counselors, psychologists are called to be in the front line and have to be tasked with a wide range of responsibility with increased demands and services, which include stepping up to help the kids understand and adapt to this new environment, continuing to advocate and provide resources, mental health support, and any necessary assistance for the family in needs, offering support to the school teachers and staff who are dealing with their own personal struggles at home while adjusting to this new environment. And now they're also providing trauma-informed care as families and school personnel might be grieving the loss of loved ones, coupled with the fact that many of our youth feel overwhelmed by the concept of social isolation and they're still coping with the loss of important youth activities like prom, graduation, etc. Today, we felt necessary to put the spotlight on these particular unsung heroes, those social workers, school counselors, psychologists, who are working hard in the background to make sure that our kids are happy and safe in a school environment. It's a selfless mission where making a difference in a child's life is the ultimate reward. How do you manage to be a social worker in a socially distant world?
Well, I think in these stressful times, it's important to come back to, as a social worker, asking myself, why did I get into this profession? And the answer to that is because I care about people and I want to help.
It's really a big challenge to try to build those relationships with people when you're not in person with them. And so I think you just have to keep at it, keep trying to reach out to people and let them know that you are there to support them, let you know that you're there as a resource, and give them options to come to you at their own level, and not try to force them into anything until you build that relationship with them.
As you can imagine, being a counselor is an inherently social job. The reason we all went into this profession is because we're social people. And so having to pivot and be that social person and reach out to students with a screen in front of you has been really challenging.
I will do whatever I can to support the students that I work with, the families that I work with. So I think it's, being able to maintain connections, even if it is a phone call or a quick email, to just let someone know I'm thinking about them.
The building of relationships is so important, and I think kids knowing that I'm listening to them and that I'm following through on things that they do, even if they're not actually in person, it takes a lot to make sure that whatever they've said to me, that I make sure I follow up on, and I do, so that they understand that I really do truly hear them, am listening to them, and concerned about them.
I think we're going to have to do a lot of work with students to rebuild that community, a lot of reunifying work where we have to get students used to working together again, used to being collaborative, even just used to coming to school. Some of our school-phobic kids are loving life right now because they don't have to come into the building. So really working on some of those lasting mental health issues, and worrying about some of the anxiety and the depression that may have kind of cropped up during this time that might be long-lasting with students.
Well, I think we need to be mindful as practitioners that stress won't necessarily disappear, even if the virus is maintained and even as the vaccines come out, that there are going to be lingering social impacts. There are going to be, lots of things for our younger children who have grown up with limited facial expression, and I think the teenagers being able to reconnect them socially when it's safe. I know they're really missing those relationships.
So one thing that I've initiated this year is every couple of days I send out kind of a wellness memo to all of the staff that works in our school and to students that give them little self-care tips that I'm also then trying to use myself. So I'm regularly sending out things about meditation and mindfulness and stress relief and different ways that you can remember to take care of yourself. And so by sending those little messages out to people, it also helps to remind myself, you need to do those things for you. Because if we as the educators are not in a good place, then it's going to be very hard to deliver curriculum to our students and help them be in a good place.
I've become the Google Form queen. Now I have a Google Form for everything you can imagine. But most importantly, I think what we've done is try to make all of our services accessible whether or not students are in school or out, because we have students, we're in hybrid, so we have students that are in part of the time and home part of the time, but some are home all the time. And so we've created online scheduling systems where students can make appointments with their counselor with a website, and they can just kind of go on there and make it a virtual appointment or an in-person appointment. We shifted all of our college rep visits to being online and had an online scheduling system. All of our forms, as I said, are online, so regardless of whether a student's in school part of the time, all the time, or none of the time, they have equal access to us.
So recognizing that even as we start to get back to, hopefully a less socially distant world, that some of those stressful impacts socially and emotionally will continue, and making sure that we're checking in with our children as they reintegrate back to school, whether that's hybrid or in person, and really being able to take care of them and ask the questions of how they're feeling and keeping their connections as best we can.
Thank you for joining us for this special finale of Wellness Wednesday. We want to thank you, our listeners, as well as all the guests who contributed to the success of this series.
We hope you have found our Wellness Wednesday segment helpful and that you will continue to share our message of hope as you move forward. Remember, you are not alone. We are in this together. Stay safe and stay healthy.
See you next time.
We offer resiliency training as well as other resources to educators. To find out more, you can reach our team at 401-277-1440, by email at edoc@ride, or on our website, backtoschoolri.com. We're here to help.